Critical Role goes pure chaos for charity, Dimension 20 gets its own webcomic, and Pokemon Pocket fans are pissed.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
Welcome to Tabletop News Tuesday on the Character Sheet, your home for all the week's biggest fantasy and TTRPG news. Before we get started, why not take a second to hit those like and subscribe buttons to help us keep these videos coming? And then, let's dive into the news.
Issue number 1 is the first issue we're going to talk about.
Critical Role went full chaos mode for charity during last night's Freaky Thursday stream, in what was one of the most entertaining one-shots they have run in a long time. The stream, which raised over $350,000 for charities helping LA recover from the devastating wildfires earlier this month, was an absolute blast, with the players being forced to switch bodies constantly, not only with their Bell's Hells characters, but also sometimes with their Mighty Nine or Vox Machina characters as well, and this led to some merciless roasting of their fellow characters, with Sam in particular taking great delight in making fun of Orem and Liam for being so serious and so dramatic when FCG was forced into Orem's body for part of the fight.
See, I catch a glint of my face, and I realize I've grown to be the man I wanted to be. A protector of my people. A blade of the tempest.
We also got some amazing moments like Imogen as Chetney being banished so that Laura was forced to play as Ford, and of course Sam playing as Dorian, using Force Cage on Bo, who was being played by Robbie.
As Force Cage. You asshole. You absolute asshole.
And it wasn't just the cast clearly having the best time they've had on stream in a while, as the chat and the donations got in on the fun as well. We had a successful marriage proposal happen in the donation messages, and a fan donated $5,000 to try and keep Robbie in the cast for Campaign 4. And all in all, it was just one of the most hilarious and enjoyable episodes of Critical Role in years. If you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor and set aside a couple of hours today to watch it, as it will be well worth every minute to see the cast roast and harass their fellow player characters in one of the funniest actual plays we've seen in a long time. Some new Wheel of Time stills for Season 3 have been released, and they once again have fans up in arms, as it appears that one of the major characters who has already had huge changes to his storyline, fan favorite Matt Cawthon, will be deviating from the book events yet again this season. While Season 3 will feature large portions of the 4th book of the Wheel of Time, Matt, who has some crucial moments in that book, including his near death and the finding of his iconic spear and all of his memories as he journeys with Rand into the Aiel Waste in the 4th book, appears to not be heading with the Dragon Reborn at all this season. Instead, we see stills of him in Tanchico with Min and Elaine, two of Rand's 3 future wives in the book, which raises some very big questions, like how will Matt encounter the Eelfinn and Ruidian, who both nearly kill him and give him his iconic spear, and more importantly, give him the rest of his previous memories as countless historical military leaders if he doesn't follow Rand to the Aiel Waste where the redstone gate that leads to them is. Basically, everything that shapes the Matt we know in the book really is based off events that happen in Book 4 as he follows Rand into the Aiel Waste, and it seems like we will once again be ignoring those moments to create some weird new version of Matt who seems to share very little with his book counterpart, which naturally has a lot of Wheel of Time fans even more upset at the already divisive fantasy series.
I hate this! I hate all of this!
Speaking of upset, Pokemon TCG Pocket fans are pissed at the new trading system, a feature that they have been begging for since the start of the mobile app, and now that it's arrived, they're begging for it to be removed again. The system basically forces you to use trade tokens to trade for single super high rarity cards with a friend, and to get enough trade tokens to actually make a single trade happen, you have to give up 4 cards of the same rarity. So basically it takes 5 high rarity cards to get one single card you want in trade, which has fans outraged at the terrible return on this. Having to trade away 5 of your best cards in exchange for 1 card of the same rarity just doesn't make sense, versus something like, just putting a limit on daily trading, or saying that you must always trade cards of the same rarity 1 for 1 to prevent players from abusing the mechanic. Fans are so outraged that they've been threatening to boycott the incredibly popular game and not spend any money in the app until the devs fix this appalling new trade system. So we'll have to see if the dev team at Pokemon TCG Pocket make some changes to respond to all this backlash in an upcoming update.
Good luck with all that.
Dungeons & Dragons has announced their new Battlemarked VR game, a DM-less co-op Dungeons & Dragons adventure where up to 4 players can take on monsters and unleash magic across 2 different campaigns, using the much-loved Demio system from Resolution Games. Basically, this appears to be a way to drop into a VR campaign with some friends and fight your way through encounters until you finally clear a campaign, which does sound kind of interesting, to be fair. Both campaigns will be set in different classic D&D settings, although no word yet on which ones specifically, and it will be compatible with both PCs and VR game devices. So if you want to skip straight to the combat and play through a bunch of D&D encounters with friends, keep your eyes peeled for more news on Dungeons & Dragons Battlemarked in the next few months.
Check this out.
And finally, Dimension 20 is being turned into a webcomic by the team at Webtoon, specifically their Classic Fantasy High series. The first Dimension 20 series, where DM Brendan Lee Mulligan introduced the world to the intrepid heroes who would go on to shape the future of Dimension 20, is getting a full 61-episode webcomic that will premiere on the Webtoon platform this spring. Talking about the upcoming webcomic, Webtoon said that Fantasy High follows a group of misfit teens as they navigate the high-stakes drama of high school and the perils of a magical world. When students at their school mysteriously go missing, the ragtag group bands together to uncover a sinister plot, embarking on an unforgettable adventure filled with intrigue, horror, and heartfelt moments. Based on that description, it looks like we will be getting pretty much all of Dimension 20 Fantasy High freshman year in webcomic form, and if that is the case, we cannot wait to see Fig, Riz, Adane, Fabian, Kristen, and Gorgug brought to life in glorious 2D when the series launches on Webtoon this spring. And that's all we have this week for Fantasy News Friday. Let us know what your favorite story was down in the comments, and don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons.